No shortcuts, no fake. Spit and grind for the dreams you make. And every story's got a mountain to climb. It's what it takes to stand the test of time. Dig deep, keep the fire alive. Success is built on the will to survive. No easy path, just a burning need. It's what it takes to truly succeed. It's the hustle, it's the pain, it's the sunshine through the rain. Every step, every break, that's what it really takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. Every challenge, every fall, it's what it takes to rise above it all. So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes. What it takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. Every challenge, every fall, it's what it takes to rise above it all. So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes. No shortcuts, no fake. Spit and grind for the dreams you make. And every story's got a mountain to climb. It's what it takes to stand the test of time. Dig deep, keep the fire alive. Success is built on the will to survive. No easy path, just a burning need. It's what it takes to truly succeed. It's the hustle, it's the pain, it's the sunshine through the rain. Every step, every break, that's what it really takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. Every challenge, every fall, it's what it takes to rise above it all. So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. Every challenge, every fall, it's what it takes to rise above it all. So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes. No shortcuts, no fake. Spit and grind for the dreams you make. Every story's got a mountain to climb. It's what it takes to stand the test of time. Dig deep, keep the fire alive. Success is built on the will to survive. No easy path, just a burning need. It's what it takes to truly succeed. It's the hustle, it's the pain, it's the sunshine through the rain. Every step, every break, that's what it really takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. Every challenge, every fall, it's what it takes to rise above it all. So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes. What it takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. Every challenge, every fall, it's what it takes to rise above it all. So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes. No shortcuts, no fake. Spit and grind for the dreams you make. Every story's got a mountain to climb. It's what it takes to stand the test of time. Dig deep, keep the fire alive. Success is built on the will to survive. No easy path, just a burning need. It's what it takes to succeed. It's the hustle, it's the pain, it's the sunshine through the rain. Every step, every break, that's what it really takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. Every challenge, every fall, it's what it takes to rise above it all. So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. From the ground up, from dust to stars, chasing goals, chasing who you are. From the ground up.
Oh, it's time. It is time. How is everybody doing? Come on in the room. If you haven't shared yet, it's a good place to do that. What It Takes podcast is on. It is live. How you guys doing? Welcome to What It Really Takes podcast. I'm your host, John Gettis, the podcast where we unpack the mindset, strategies, and resilience it takes to overcome your challenges and to achieve your goals. I am your host, John Gettis. Listen, welcome. Today we're going to dive into a topic important about success, yet about overcoming and not to be overlooked is embracing the process. Embracing the process. Like I said, we're going to get ready to get started. As we know, it is a late one, but we are here. We're going to make it happen as we tunnel through, push through, make it do what it do. I hope you guys can hear me as clear as I want it to be. So, let's do it. All right, guys. We'll make it happen.
So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really takes.
1:30. All right, perfecto. Again, like I said, we are diving in today into the episode, embracing the process. Embracing the process. It's kind of interesting. We're here, episode 10. It's been a minute. I'll tell you that now. It's been a minute since we've been on the pod, but we're here tonight. Last week was consecration for church. Week before that was New Year's, all of those things were unraveling and happening. So, yes, so we're here back again on episode number 10, and we are excited. So let us get ready to dive in. It's going to be short, sweet, and amazing. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping you get something out of it. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the truth about process, about embracing process. The truth is, everyone wants results. Let's say it that way. Everybody wants results. Everybody wants something to happen. Everybody is hoping and expecting, but very few are willing to go with the process. Process takes endurance. Process is something that is more than just waking up every day, running down the stairs, brushing your teeth, going out the door, going to work, going to school. It's more. It's more to process than just showing up. More to process than just trying to build a business, saying that you want to build a business, having purposes, having dreams, having aspirations, having hopes, having vision. It's more to it than that. It's about growing, it's about maturing, it's about developing, it's about education, it's about having resilience, it's about thinking, it's about pushing. It's important that we push ourselves to the place that we understand that the process to get to where we're trying to get to, it's not I know we like the word easy, and we hate when the word easy is confronted. We hate when the word easy is battled, when it's contested. But I gotta tell you that sometimes easy isn't always the way. You have to go through a process. You have to go through a extended route called process. So, let's do it. Let's dive in deep into what process really does and what things you can do and how you can go about things to help your process, help you to get through these things as we go. I'm gonna tell you one thing about process. Another word that is associated with process, that can be associated with it, is a journey. Journey can be associated with a process. The journey, the process, that becomes what really makes and breaks you. How well are you dealing in the process, in the journey? Some days, yes, it may be easy. Some days it may be like, it's tough, but I can get through it. And then other days it's just like overwhelming. It may be some days that while going through the process, still developing, still healing, still maturing, still hoping, still praying, still expecting, still dreaming, still having visions, still having things on paper, still having things listed, still having things, but there's nothing to touch. There's nothing to run to. There's nothing to manifest. You still have to tunnel through. You still have to now accept that process. It's the easiest thing in the world when everything seems as though it's going right in the process. But what happens when you have to go back to the drawing board? What happens when you have to go back and revisit? What happens when you have to go back and do something over? What happens then? That right there, I know. That's the part of the process that many of us, we don't care for. We don't care for the part that I have to go back and I have to embrace. I have to relook at my vision. I thought I had it all together. I thought I had it step after step. I thought everything was perfect. I thought this was going to be how it's supposed to be laid out. I thought, man, I thought I knew. That's what they did. That's how it was told to me. I did this, I did that. But you have to understand this about process is this. Every mastered skill is a master skill, but it's also uh, each individual's process. Each individual gonna get there different. Each individual has their own drive, own thrill, their own different. They have a different why. They have a different reason to why they're doing what they do. They have a different reason why they wake up. Is it the reason why you breathe? Is it the reason why you move? Is it the reason why you said, "Oh, I'm gonna go make things happen"? Is it the reason? Your reasons, your purposes, your plans in the process are different. So you have to understand that in process you're bound you're bound to get something right, and also you're bound to get something wrong. I'll tell you how I know, because even in my process of life, of journeys, of levels that I've seen, maturity, it's not always right. It's not always perfect. It's not always the T is crossed and the dot is over the I. It's not always perfect, but you have to learn to embrace it for what it is. Let's talk about this real quick. I got three different points and different perspectives that I would like to dive into tonight, and then yeah, we'll get up out of here. We'll get right out of here, out your way. Ain't nobody gonna be mad. Ain't nobody gonna be upset. So let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about why process matters. Why in the world does process matter? Why in the world does it? What does it mean? Why does process matter? Let's start with this. That process is where the magic happens. Process. It's where you build discipline. In process. In the process, you have to know that, guess what? If I stick to it, it's gonna happen. If I keep going, it's going to give me the results that, guess what, it was said that it's supposed to give me. But it takes what? Discipline. That, guess what? I'm gonna see it. It takes resilience. It takes skill. It takes you needing to know that, guess what, success is around the corner. It's you have to know that, guess what, this process is necessary. In the process, it does matter. It does matter. It matters about how you think. In process, it matters if it matters about how you handle things. It matters about what you do and how it works, what the outcome's going to be. It really, really, really matters. So if you don't know, now you should know, is that there we go. That it does matter. That in this process and in this whole thing is that it matters. You got to take this example that the athlete, listen, many a times they don't just show up for game day. They show up for practice. They show up for reels. They study players. They go and see what they can do, how they can attack, how can they defend, how can they make the play. But it's not in the game that processes begin. It's in, okay, after the win, after the loss, we go back and practice is still on Tuesday. We go back and we still go and lift weights. We go back and we still run another mile. We still go back because we're trying to be the best version of ourselves. We're trying to be the best version of who we've been proclaimed to be. We want to be on the next level. Preparation is all a part of what? Process. So they don't wait for it to show up for them to say, oh, now I'm gonna take the risk. Now I'm gonna do whatever I got to do. I'm gonna be the best. I'm gonna be the best singer. I'm gonna be the best rapper. I'm gonna be the best uh preacher. I'm gonna be the best writer. I'm gonna be the best podcaster. I'm gonna be the best business owner. I'm gonna be the best this. You can't be the best if you never put in no time. You can't be the best at anything that you have not tried. You cannot be the best if you do not try and you do not motivate yourself to be consistent and be driven. Even if things don't show up for you on the first try, even if it seems as though that you're doing it for no purpose at all. Listen, there is a purpose behind it because you have dreams and you have aspirations and you have hopes and you have dreams and you are dreaming bigger than you've ever dreamed before. You're hoping better than you've ever hoped before. You have to have it down on the inside of yourself that guess what? It is going to work out, that it is going to make sense. It may not make sense now, but this is all a part of the process. See, many of times we see success as the end result, but really success is actually conquering the day, conquering the moments that guess what normally would defeat you. Listen, conquering those moments, conquering the time, conquering the season. That's how you get to that next level. It is not the end result that really shows how resilient you are. It's when you're going through process that shows how resilient you are. It is not at the end of it where it shows that guess what you're well worth these dollars. You're well worth this time. You're really well worth being in the room. You're well worth everything that guess what you've asked for, you inquired. Look, it's not at game time. It's at practice. Many a times people don't even see when people try out. That sometimes is a closeout session. The only person that knows your true potential, only person that knows what you really can do is you. You're like, man, I know I can do better. Man, I know I got this in me. I know I can achieve this. I know I can make this happen. Yeah, you know that, man. Oh, and then you get around people, you hear the conversation. Nah, maybe you should try something else. You like, man, I know this is it. I know this is my thing. I know this is what really makes me. I really know. And you can't listen to all of that and not understand that guess what? It really started when nobody saw me. It really starts when guess what? You're just like that athlete that goes to the closed session, that goes to guess what? You don't know whose eyes are watching. You don't know when it happens. You don't know what's going on. Listen and listen. That's how you progress in your process. That's how you progress in your learning. And guess what? Where people don't see, you develop. They be like, oh, that's where you're weak. Listen, you gotta, hey, all right, sharpen up on the left hand side, sharpen up on the right hand side. Listen, if you jump like this, if you jump like that, and then when we get in the game, like, man, how do you do that? Oh man, if you had seen me about 6 months ago, if you had seen me about 2 weeks ago, I wasn't this confident. I wasn't this strong. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. You can go back and roll the footage that guess what other people can't see. So this is why you have to understand that guess what process really happens not in at the time in which you show up for the game, but it actually happens in the time in which you are in practice, that you're in study. That guess what that shows creativity. That shows that guess what is well worth it. Listen, they listen. I want to know what really does it take. It's every morning waking up. It's taking hours in the gym. It's meditating. It is becoming physically, mentally, and emotionally attached to your why. You have to know that guess what is bigger than me. This moment is not the stage. Is not the moment. The moment really is all the time that you put in that wasn't seen by others. All the time that guess what you're like, man, I got blisters on my hand, but I'm gonna still go and do my thing. I could barely walk. I could barely do. I pushed myself to the limit, but guess what? My recovery time is this day, and guess what? I'm gonna go bounce back, and I'm gonna go back and do it again, because you understand that. Guess what? It's not about that. Is really not about that. You just cannot quit. There's no quit in you. There should not be no quit in you. It's all a part of the process. You got to understand your why. You got to understand that. Listen, you got to reflect on this. So let me ask you, what is process in your life right now? What does process look like for you? Do you have a process? Do you have a process for even even the toughest of days? And sometimes we don't think about how to process the good days and the bad days. We don't know how to process to make sure that we don't get into places too deep. We don't what's your process of making sure that you're motivated? Oh well, nothing really motivates me. Nothing really, you got to find something that does. Okay, well I don't need motivation. I just do and I just grind. But I'm trying to tell you that guess what? There's gonna come a day and comes a time that guess what? You're like, man, I just don't feel like it. Okay. So how do I get out of the place that I just don't feel like it? How do I get out of the place that guess what? I feel like blowing up on everybody. How do I get out of the place of just wearing my feelings on my shoulder? How do I get out the place that guess what? I'm just doing just because. How do I get out of the place? It's got to be a process. You got to understand the signs, the signals, and everything else about yourself in order to get to the next level. You have to know that guess what? Hey, what does the process look like to get out of this emergency of my life? How do I get out of this process of my life? Well, listen, oh, John, I haven't experienced everything in life yet. I haven't experienced this type of pain. I didn't experience this type of grief. I didn't experience this. But listen, you got to have a plateau that guess what? Is like, I may come to here, but guess what? I won't let this stop me. I got to be able to set things in play that, and we're going to get to it. We're going to get to these very vital things that make it make sense to keep you from a place that guess what? You feel as though you're about to be unchained, unloosed, and just completely what they don't want you to be yourself. You might want to learn resistance. You might want to learn ways to overcome it and know and have the understanding what's happening. All right, we're not going there. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. So I got 3 practical steps that might help you, might work. I don't know if they're gonna work or not. They work for me, so I'll see if they'll work for you. So let's do this. Let's do this. These 3 practical steps that will help you to set yourself apart and to thrive. Let's do number 1. Let's deal with number 1 because you got to have some tools, some ways to be able to win and overcome. In order to win and overcome, you've got to shift your perspective. Sometimes, not all the times, you got to shift that perspective. Sometimes instead of thinking that the work's going to be hard, shift your mind and say that guess what? Oh, we got this. It's going to be easy. It's the perspective of a thing that makes it challenging. Sometimes the perspective, I know somebody just said, but what's the reality, John? What's the reality of the thing? The reality is that this is a hard thing. Got you. But you got to be able to take this step and restructure in your mind because many of times that when you can't restructure in your mind, you would stay in a place of defeat when you should be conquering. You may stay in a place of a weak when guess what you really had the strength to go on. You because of what my mind says, because of what I feel. I feel tired. I feel like that may be just a feeling. That just may be a desire, but that's not really the truth. And yes, we have to deal with the reality. Yes, we have to deal with these things. But in order to overcome obstacles and oppositions in life, you have to learn to shift your perspective. You have to learn to shift it to the place that you're like, that's it. You have to trigger yourself to say that guess what, I'm going to grow. You have to trigger yourself and say, guess what, I'm going to win. It is not until you figure it out and you make the steps, make the efforts, and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to do it. So, how do you prepare me for the next steps? All right, this is you gotta ask yourself that question, but this is how you do it. All right. Here's another one for you. You gotta focus on the process and not perfection. Get the processes down. You gotta embrace what it takes before you see the result. I'm not no gym rat. I'm not none of that. Not me. Not at all. I don't know if it ever may come in life for me or not, but we'll see. But they tell me that um I'd say they tell me that form matters. Like it, if you're not doing the exercise right, it's like you wasting your time. Like if they tell you to do the squat and you don't go all the way down, oh well, I'm a little. You're not gonna get the result. They tell me that guess what? You can hurt yourself if you lift the wrong way because it all deals with what form. It deals with getting the structure. It deals with the structure back. Listen, you could be in a workout and hurt yourself more than you can help yourself doing it wrong because there's a process, there's a position, there's a footing, there's a mindset, there's a thought. If you go into the gym uh just thinking like, yeah, whatever, okay, go in there and just say whatever, and you go lift just any old type of way. By tomorrow, you be like, my back hurt, my feet hurt, my head hurt, my neck hurt. I feel like I gotta throw up. I feel like my life is flashing before my eyes. I listen, the weight don't matter. Listen, the muscle don't matter because my everything's hurting on me because you ignored what it took, what it really takes to get the result that you need. And that deals with your placement, your footing, your mindset. Everything comes into place when it comes down to it. We have to focus on the process of what it takes first in order to get the result that we want. The same thing that they do. They tell them, hey, tighten up, listen, pull up, listen, do this. Somebody's there to actually tell you and to motivate you, to show you exactly how it's supposed to go. And you have to focus on the fundamentals of it more than I'm trying to get to the bottom. That's one part of it. The mindset is one part. But you also have to have the focus on the process, the approach, and making sure that you are leveling up. I can't. Come on. You got to make sure you nail it. The goal isn't for us to figure out today. It's for us to celebrate, figure it all. It's not for us to figure it all out in one day, okay? But it is for us to celebrate the small wins. I tell you this all the time. We got to celebrate small wins. We have to celebrate small wins. We have to celebrate small wins and keep it moving. That's what you've got to do. You've got to have goals and aspirations, but you got to have goals and understand that guess what? My goal is not going to be completed in today. So if my goal is not going to be completed in just today, that means that guess what? I have to celebrate that guess what? Instead of me just doing one lap, I did 2 laps. Instead of me just drinking 110 sodas and this in a week, I was limiting myself down to just 2. Oh yeah. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, I'm trying to create more. Okay, well today I'm gonna create once a week. All right, cool. Once a week. I'm consistent for the last month or 2 with creating for once a week. Cool. All right. And then the next month, I'm like, okay, let's see if I could do create one week, and then create 2 the next week, and create 1 the next week, and create 2 the next week. And let's see if that works for me. You want to build consistency. You don't want to build a to-do list. Hello, how you doing? You're doing great? All right. Listen, you don't want to build yourself a to-do list because where there's to-do lists for many people, it becomes overwhelming. It then becomes like a job. It then becomes like a task. And one thing is for sure, 2 things is for certain. And guess what? Many people don't really care for the task and the control. Listen, you don't. You don't. You don't have to tell me. You don't. I don't care for it. I keep it to yourself. Don't. Right. You got to learn how to build on what you can do. Build and then also extend, because that's the only way to get to the goal, and that's the only way to accomplish. You have to really sit down and scale to the place that, guess what, it's practical, that it makes sense. And sometimes it doesn't make sense to many other people surrounding or things that's going on, but you have to understand this in process. Focus on the process, but don't try to get the end result in one day. All right? It's not about perfection. Let's go. All right, this one's a good one, very good one. I would say, only for one reason. It says surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with and right people is highlighted for a reason, because it's easy to surround yourself with people, but the right people is a different story. Right people is a different story. I'll say it again. The right people is a different story, because many can be associates and can be surrounded, but that doesn't mean just because you got people and you got a village, that doesn't mean that you have the right people in your village. So you have to have uh, the right people in your village. You have to have the right people in your circle. You got to have the right people in your corner. Process is tough all by itself. But I'm going to tell you what process is, what makes process even tougher. All right, y'all listening? What makes process even tougher is when you're doing process with the wrong people. What makes process even tougher, because it's tough all by itself, is when you're doing process with the wrong people. So it's important that you learn to have the right people around so you can now fulfill the process that you need to do. Process is tough by itself, but that's why you need a community. That's why you need people. I'm not talking about having yes soldiers. I'm talking about having people that actually understand and care and envision and hope and want to see the success, and find people that encourage you and hold you accountable. That's what you want. The wrong people is not what you're looking for. The right people is what you look for. Encouraging, holding you accountable, and reminds you why you started. If you can't find an individual, can't find a person, you can't find a friend, sometimes that will remind you why you started what you started, why you came to that area, why you came to that space, or why it is for you. Why this, sometimes we do forget. Sometimes we feel as though that we are not as resilient. We may feel as though that I could talk from myself. Sometimes you feel inadequate. Maybe your voice, your tone, your product, your vision, your idea. It is as nobody cares, nobody this, and it's not until the day that, guess what, you find out. Oh man, maybe it is something. But what? Well, listen to me. You got to have the right people. The right people. I will stress this again. Having the right people surrounding you is more important than having a community that feeds you to a place of burnout. See, the right community will help you not to be fed and be devoured by the place of burnout, because they will watch you, they would care for you, they would look out for you, they would think about you, they'll check in on you, they'll make the phone call, they'll make the text, they will uh, do whatever it is as they're observing, as they're watching. Yes, you have to be cautious about people. Yes, you got to be cautious about their intentions. Yes, you got to be cautious about what they do. That's why it's important to evaluate in the beginning who's right, and At the same time, in the process, you may have to evaluate and process out those that may have been right in the beginning, but is not right in the middle of process. Okay, it's time for me to go. Yeah, you might have to. You might have to evaluate the people that were at the beginning, and then evaluate again in the middle, and then evaluate again before we get to the end. Because the crazy thing is that many of times before you know that you about to hit it, or it's about to happen, or things about to click, or things about to shift, somebody, whether it be your friend, whether it be your enemy, whether it be the counterfeit, whether it be they know it's about to flip, it's about to happen, it's about to, and this is the thing that they know, and they can realize that it's getting ready to happen, it's getting ready to go, and I got to go because this ain't for that. I but it's true. It- yep. You can't let that yeah. You gotta process your friends in every stage of the process, even before the results are in, even before things really take off, even before things really manifest itself. Know who's there, and it's okay to ask for wisdom and don't act nonchalant just because they were there for over 20 years for you, and that's always been. If it's not good for you, let it go. If it's not worth it to you, let it go. All right, I got something for you. I got something for you. I got something for you. Got something for you. Got something for you. So, those are the three practical ways to make sure that you are helping yourself to endure through the process of things. Listen. Here's a mindful moment. I want you to think about this. Think about this. Think about this. Uh, Now let's take a moment. And here's the principle I want you to reflect on. That process is not punishment. Process is not punishment. It's preparation. All right? It's not a punishment to have to process something. It's not a punishment to go through process. It is preparation for something bigger. Sometimes we feel like it's hard. Times sometimes it feels like a setback. In actuality, it's not. In actuality, it's just setting you up during process. You're being shapen, you're being redefined for what's next. You're like, man, I feel so this. Why does this not feel the same way? And we're trying to run back to what felt the same, or we're running back to what was and what is. And he's like, I'm processing you through because yeah, there's a process in, and sometimes there's also a process out. All right, so it says this: instead of asking why me, start asking yourself, what is this really trying to teach me? Why me? Y'all stop acting like you didn't say it. You've said it before. You've said it probably about last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 days ago, maybe even just a few minutes ago. That's why me. I know. Why me? It comes. But you got to start asking yourself, what is this teaching me? What wisdom should I take from this process, from this moment, from this part of my life, this journey of my life? Because we miss moments while we're journeying through life, and we don't take the teachable moments and learn from them and then apply wisdom the next time the journey comes about, that we do not stay in a place of disruption or stay in a place of not knowing or not knowing how to capitalize on an advancement or for something that has come into your existence or into your hands, because we didn't learn the lesson while we were going through our why moment. That will quickly shift your perspective. If you can learn to switch it from, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is this really happening to me? That I know that's the dire question. Why is this really happening to me? And this is why. You got to change your perspective every time that happens. So you keep your mind going forward for the weeks to come. Remember, every struggle is equipping you for a greater purpose. Again, every struggle is equipping you for a greater purpose. So you don't go through just because, you don't suffer just because, but you do deal with things because there's a greater purpose, there's a greater thing awaiting you, for you to see, something for you to learn and to thrive through. So I want you to remember that, okay? So this week I think we got it. Yep, there we go. All right. So this week's challenge is a new part of what it really takes podcast, is that we'll set you off with a challenge for the week. This week's challenge is simple. Identify one area where you've been avoiding process. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to fool with it, and commit to learning into it instead. Start leaning into it instead. Start saying, all right, let's make another attempt. Let's try this again. If it's, I don't know how to do this, or I'm afraid of this, okay? Learn how to conquer it. Learn how to fix it. Learn how to achieve it. Learn how to love. Learn how to forgive. Learn, read a book, read something, do something that allows you to be not just educated by it, but listen, also give you principles and things to do to push into the right direction, so that way you're not afraid of it. Because if you do, it's going to give you a better result. Do this too. Write down one step you can take today, and no matter how small it is, do it. What can you do starting today that will help you for your future? What can you do? It could be something as small as waking up early, just so I can be on time. It could be just as simple as, okay, I'm a meal prep this week so that way I can save more time. It could be whatever. I'm going to post a video. I'm going to find the business plan. I'm going to find out who I'm supposed to market to. I'm going to, whatever it is that you do, that you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to see, find what you need to do and do something. Stop giving the excuse to yourself that, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I hope somebody would tell me. I don't. Research, look, thrive, learn, glean, go to classes, do whatever you got to do. And sometimes it's not all about you having to spend the money or having to do all those type of things. Sometimes it's just the preparation to set yourself up for success. Clean up, to get rid of something, do something, reflect, write a book. I don't care, but whatever it is that's in your wheelhouse that you're able to do, that you are sometimes just resenting from doing, but it's not saying that you're incapable of doing. You just don't want to do it because it's going to take away time. But I promise you, if you put time in on the front half, you'll have a better result on the other end. That's all. You got to put the time in at the front, on the front part, in the middle part, so that way the end result will show forth something crazy. You be like, man, I remember when I was sitting up late at night. I remember when I couldn't figure it out. I remember when you had those remember wins, and then you be like, man, but now I ain't missing nothing. I ain't nothing lacking. It's like second nature. Because of what? Consistency. Because of what? Thrive. Just because of what? You continue. Because of what? You set up a process. Because of what? You dream bigger. Because of what? You hope for more. Because of what? Because you thought it for yourself that guess what? I can do it. I can do it and I will do it. All right, as we get ready to close, as we get ready to go, as we get ready to wrap up the podcast, because it has to come to an end sometime. So you can't skip process. You still have to expect to reap your promise. You still have to grow. Still have to learn. You still have to be strengthened within yourself. You still have to build for the journey. You also have to do these things. You don't want to rush nothing. You just want to trust the process and work your today for your tomorrow. You want to work your today for your tomorrow. And as you work today, tomorrow going to take care of itself. And you're going to work in tomorrow. And we're going to keep progressing. And we're going to keep growing. And we're going to keep moving. What part of the process are you going to do right now? That's where you got to get to in our minds. What am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? Well, John, it is like 11:20 at night. Listen, yep. All right, you got about 30 minutes before the next day. You right. To figure out what you are going to do different tomorrow than what you did today. You're right. It's never too late. See, it would have been an excuse if you wanted it to be. That, yeah, I ain't got time. I don't care when you watching this video, what time. Make a decision. And guess what? Right now, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something today. What will you do today for your process? What will you do today to get a better result tomorrow? Listen, I don't care where you are sitting. I don't care when you are watching this. I don't care what time of day, morning, noon, or night. You have to make the decision now on what's next for you. Believe it, trust it, and watch it come to do. And then you must embrace it fully and trust that it's being prepared for you. You have to trust it fully. The process of what you said you're going to do, that it's going to work, that it's going to fulfill, that it's going to work out for me. You have to know it for yourself and trust it. Okay? Trust it because great things are in store. Listen, that's it for today's episode here on What It Really Takes podcast. If this message has done anything for you, if this podcast has done anything for you, helped you out, anything of that nature, listen, do me a favor, and that's just leave a comment, leave a review, listen, do whatever you want to do, like, comment, share with somebody else, do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, connect with us, because only thing that's going to happen after this is we're going to get better, we're going to get better, and we're going to get better, because over here we find success, we find reasons to thrive, and we find reasons to keep going, even when everything else seems as though it's against us and everything else seems as though it's not going to work. It will work. All right. So until next time, remember, it's not just about the destination. It's about what it really takes to get you there and just to keep going. All right. I'll see you guys on the other side. All right.
So now you know the stories are real. What it takes is the fire you feel. Keep pushing on, no time for breaks. That's what it really